All right, today we're going to learn how to solve systems of equations by substitution. So previously we did systems by graphing. So now instead of doing that, we're going to do it by substitution and we're going to find our x and y values. So to do this, you need to choose one of your equation and get either the y or the x by itself. Doesn't matter which one you choose, either one. Just pick an equation and get the x or the y by itself and then substitute that into the second equation. So to get started, let's start with the first example so you can see what I'm talking about. So the first one is easy because we already have one where the y variable is by itself and it says y equals -6. So technically this one is really easy also because we already have one of our ordered pair there. We have the y value is -6. So all we really need to solve for right now is x. So to solve for x, you take where y equals -6 and plug it into the first equation where you see y. So you have 8x minus 5y equals -2. And now plug in this 6 where the -6 where you see y. Don't forget when you're plugging it in, always plug it in with parentheses around your numbers, especially if it's negative. So simple multiplication right there. -5 times -6 gives me a positive 30. Now we have a two-step equation. By now we know how to do two steps. We get rid of the 30 by doing the inverse. Subtract 30 on both sides. Now your 8x drops equals -2 minus 30 gives me a -32. To get x by itself, we divide both sides by a positive 8. X drops. -32 divided by positive 8 gives me a -4. So that is your x value. Now that we have our x value, we have our ordered pair or our solution to this system of equation. So there is a way to check if your answer is correct. Just use one of the numbers, plug it in to the equation, and see if it makes the statement true. So the easiest one for us to do is just where you see y, you plug in a -6. So right here we have -6. Does -6 equal 6? Yes, it's true. So we know that one actually matches and it makes the system true. Let's go to the next problem. All right. So example number 3, same step we have to do. Make sure you get a variable by itself. This one, if you look as well, you have a variable by itself, but we still have to do some working. So we're going to substitute this and put it into the second equation, meaning wherever you see the x variable, you have to put in y equals -2. So we have 4x plus y equals 2, and it's telling me x equals y minus 2. So all it's telling you to do is wherever you see x, you put in a y minus 2. So 4, remember when you're substituting in, everything needs to be in parentheses, plus y equals 2. We know the first step we have to do when we see parentheses, it's distribution, and this 4 gets distributed to the entire parentheses, not only one term, but both terms. So 4 is going to multiply the y, and we're going to get 4y. The 4 is also going to distribute and multiply the -2, and we're going to get -8. Drop everything else down. Plus y, that was my mistake, equals 2. So after we distribute, you always check to see if you can combine like terms. We combine the 4y and the plus y. They're like terms, so you can combine them together. So 4y plus 1y is going to give me 5y. Everything else needs to drop because we did not do anything to it. So we drop -8 equals 2. Now that we have a two-step equation, we know that we need to get rid of the constant, which is your 8, by adding 8 to both sides. Drop your 5y equals 8 plus 2 gives me 10. Let me shift the board a little bit. Right, so you say 8 plus 2 gives me 10. Now we're going to get rid of the 5 by dividing it on both sides. So we have y equals 10 divided by 5 gives me a positive 2 for my y value. Now that we have a value for y, we're going to take that and plug it into the first equation that we had to get your x value. So the first equation is x equals y minus 2. Let's do that. So I'm just going to erase this top half here. All right, so we know initially we just solved for y, as you can see at the bottom there, and y was positive 2. Now we're going to take this and substitute it back to that first equation. So you have x equals y minus 2, x equals, remove the y, plug in a 2. So you have x equals 2 minus 2 gives me 0. And that is your value for your x. Now your solution, or your x and y ordered pair, is going to be 0 comma positive 2. All right, so now that we have our ordered pair solution to the system, we can plug it back into the original two equations to see if our answer is correct. So let's erase this working right here in the middle. Keep our answer there. I'm going to separate my page into two sections. So you have to be able to plug in your x and y value into both equations to see if it's true, if it's correct. So we have the first one is x equals y minus 2, and we have an x and we have a y value right there. And we, in the equation, there's an x and there's a y value. So what you're doing is wherever you see x, you're going to plug in 0, and wherever you see y, you're going to plug in 2. So x is 2. I mean, x is 0. That was my mistake. X is 0, and y is a positive 2. Now you need to see if your left side equals your right side. If your left side equals your right side when you simplify, then your answer is correct. So there's nothing to simplify on the left side, so the 0 just drops. Simplify your right side by saying 2 minus 2 gives me 0. Does 0 equal 0? Yes, it's true. So it works out for the first equation. Let's see if it works out for the second one. Let's do it in maybe blue. So we have 4x plus y equals 2. Wherever we see x, we know we need to put a 0, and wherever we see y, we put a 2. So I have 4 parentheses, always put it in parentheses, 0 plus y is going to be 2 equals 2. Now this time we have to simplify our left side while our right side just drops. 0 multiplied by 4 gives me 0, so it goes away. 2 drops equals 2. Does 2 equal 2? Yes, it does. So we just verified that our solution makes this system work. That's the correct solution to our system of equations.